Hello, hello! On this Thursday, and I can see blue sky. Spring is coming. Also, I'm sorry if I'm causing something of a moire effect. I've just looked at myself and noticed I'm a bit stripy. So if you're... hang on. There you go. I'll limit the exposure of stripes into your field of view as best as I'm able. As we go about our business, looking at what's new and exciting and great in consonants again this week. So I hope you're having a good enough time of it. I can hear a cat rustling around in a box. It's all right, she's off for her second early afternoon nap, I expect. Yes, let's have a look to see what we've got on the cards this week. And we have got an amazing list of things for you. Going to go through the usual stuff. We're going to look at things that are changing, ways to improve your reach, ways to be ever more expert in all the different ways that you already are, going into depth about some things, and then pew, 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 doing it all at speed. So let's go. So the first thing on the list... You can tell I'm in quite a good mood because it's been a good day here at Constance Towers. We have just shipped, or just about to press the button on shipping, yet more really good improvements in accessibility. You know what? Chances are you may not notice all that much. It's certainly not going to be a big, whoa, what's going on here? Big change on the interface. But you know, doing accessibility properly means every day of every week chipping away as standards improve, as we find more and more ways to optimise the way that you can interact with the software that you rely on for your, publishing wonderfulness. We've done our latest release, I guess, of more improvements, and it's just a really feel-good moment to know that we are actually at the... I would say this, wouldn't I? But I think we are leading the field in the implementation of accessibility standards as it pertains to title management in the book publishing industry. And I'm even more buoyed today because we're talking to a potential client, and we got some of the requirements through in the RFP thing. And the tone has shifted, and in this RFP it says, it would be nice to have blah, 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 royalties, it would be nice to have this, that and the other feature. And then in the kind of section where it says, and of course these are the obvious things that you need to have, it's barely even worth mentioning, but we'll mention them anyway. It says compliance with WCAG 2.1 accessibility standards. And it's just like popped in there and then move on. And it's like, well, that is both really hard and we've done it! Yay! So it's some massive testament to the team. This stuff it's not suitable for sort of standing on YouTube and shouting about, actually. It is the stuff of tenacity, of constant effort, of hard work, of trying and trying and trying, of reading the documentation, keeping up with standards, doing the training courses, getting the certifications, never stopping. And this team here, you would be amazed at the quality of the people who are looking after your data in this code. It really does make me quite overwhelmed with delight. So when you next look at consonants, maybe next week, once it's actually shipped to all of the instances, you will see some of the things that we've been working at. And I just sort of took this from our own internal documentation. It's not designed to impress or anything. It's here to say some of the detailed small things that add up to an experience that means that our interface is usable by the majority of people. Things such as, not making VoiceOver read out an ISBN as if it's an actual integer. Because is there anything more guaranteed to send you loopy quicker than not hearing 978, but instead hearing the actual number being read out? Things such as outlines for when you're going, when you're tabbing through using the keyboard, not the mouse. very often on software, it's a mystery, isn't it, where on earth you are on the page. So just, loads of little affordances like this to make us compliant, and to make it so that you can get on with your job managing your flipping data, which is challenge enough, without having to wrestle with a flipping piece of software. So flipping well done, our team. I'm ameliorating my language because this is public. You know what I really mean. I mean, very well done. So great. So keep feedback coming. I mean, we don't often get feedback of this sort of granularity, because I think actually, with modern software, people tend to think, oh, it's just, I've had to click on that button 16 times and it goes the wrong shade of whatever for my eyes. But that's just the modern world, isn't it? Well, let's not stand for it. Definitely let us know anything that you come across in your daily usage of Constance and you think, oh, if only they'd fix that, that would save me nanoseconds of annoyance every day. It all adds up. Detail. So yeah, we're always open to all sorts of comments, big or small, doesn't matter. So, and we've got things such as the hard work done by industry bodies to give us a good shot at what is good, and this is what we aim to achieve compliance with. This is 2.1, and of course it's moving on now. So the work is never done. And I'm definitely not saying that we're absolutely perfect in all spheres. So, don't hesitate to call us out when you feel that we're lacking, because we are, in a good position to make these regular changes to make your life fraction less tricky. And we can all use that, couldn't we? So yeah, so well done team, well done everyone, well done W3C. And well done potential new client for having it on the list of obvious things that you need to get into bookshops and so forth. Right, on the subject of reach, thought we would loop back and look at briefings. We have spent quite a lot of time on these live streams looking at ways to get advanced information sheets, otherwise known as tip sheets or catalogues or flyers, out of the system for your metadata. And we have touched on the idea that you can use that same functionality for internal documentation as well. I felt that it was time to loop back and have another look at that, because I don't know, it's a cool thing. But we'll also do something with it at the end, which was actually news to me this week. So we will we'll step through on a briefing, and we will see what we can get, and I'll just remind you, I'll revise how the interface works. So bear in mind, you might be normally in getting advanced information sheet mode out for your customers and sales agents and distributors and aggregators and so forth. But now we're focusing inwards. We're thinking about how can we get a beautiful yet functional piece of information out of the system that contains the latest correct data, but is in a bit more of a formatted format so that everyone can easily see it with their human eyes and know what we're looking at. So we are going to go to, I think let's go to Cat Heist, because this will be, we'll be looking at this at the work level rather than at the batch of 1,000 level, because with briefings I feel like you're sending the brief for the work to the proofreader. I feel like it tends to be more at the individual work unit kind of thing, but let me know if I've misjudged that. So we're on a particular work here. Work's called Cat Heist, and we're going to go to project management and briefings. Boink. And on briefings, I've got a couple of briefings already, and there's some actions that I can take. But let's add a new one, and we'll do this all the way through from the beginning. And I don't know if if you have this notion of internal documentation. I mean, every publisher that we've met really tends to have, the internal, the release pack or the sign-off pack or the acquisition pack. And it's just one of those, hidden jobs that you have to do to get the data from wherever you store it into something that is reasonable so that you can circulate it for the meeting. So that might be an idea. Let's do the acquisition meeting. Acquisition meeting. This is one of the new accessibility affordances. Look how much easier it is to click on the information button. Much more broad, so I can get my mouse on it if I'm using mices. You might see a few things as we go. Lovely. So this is the acquisition meeting briefing I am making. And I could copy a template. So the briefing template, and I've only got one, which is called Proofreader, that is a template to set up the kind of text sections of a brief. So if this was a brief for the proofreader, it might be information about the typeface we're going to use, information about the house style that you're going to apply. You know, what nature of quotation marks are we using on this one? Are we using long M dashes or shorter N dashes? What's our house style on spaces either side of that? You know, stuff that may be a little bit boilerplate, but you might need to tweak it just for, you know, this particular work. Quite often I've had authors say, I would really like it if we could have a 5mm indentation at the start of every paragraph rather than a space, or vice versa. I would really love it if we could have the French indent for the speech marks instead of the standard UK one. Whatever. So you know, you'll have your house style. You might want to change it. This is a great way to do it. I am going to not choose a briefing template for today, just so that we can keep it kind of plain. But the idea there is, if you have the same sorts of headlines and boilerplate stuff that you send out again and again and again to the proofreader and the typesetter and the translator and other people who you rely on to get the book to market, then you can set up a starting point and then tweak it work by work. But next we are going to look at the list of marketing material templates. So it's the same list as we can use to generate advanced information sheets or tip sheets or flyers or catalogues. So we can use that kind of design structure. So let's go with the right aligned tip sheet template, which I happen to know is pretty spare. So we're gonna keep it nice and easy to see what we're doing. And then we can say, let's have one or more or none of the products on this work associated with it. So this could be just the audiobook briefing to the narrator, and you wouldn't send over the hardback and the paperback information. You could keep it just to that one template, one format. That'd be fine. So I've pressed save for that, and now I can do some more things with it. Now I can press the button marked PDF default, and that will generate the kind of the system design. It's quite hard coded, the system design to get the current metadata for Cat Heist into the PDF format. That is fine, we'll do that in a minute. And I can click the button to use the marketing material template to get this information out in the PDF format. Also cool. In fact, and let's do both of those things now, and then what we'll do is add some specific text to this briefing note. So, and then we'll generate them again and we'll see the difference. So first things first, let's click on the default PDF output. And it's lovely, you know, there's lines, there's a nice font, there's headings. This is all of the information that's from the metadata page, but you haven't been able to choose it. This information is laid out on this PDF in the way that we wrote at some point, and you kind of get what you're given, and you can't send in a support ticket to say, oh, could you possibly, because it's kind of hard coded, which is sometimes all you need. Look at that, that's great. Get the table of contents out in a nice format, get the product information out, Bob's your uncle. But sometimes you need a bit more control, don't you? Which is one of the reasons why we have got an ability to give you a bit more control. So now I'm going to press the button that says PDF using marketing material template. Now this is the same work. We're on Cat Heist. All of that stuff that we just looked at, this is the same part of the database that we are querying. But we're not going to see the same information because on the marketing material template that we've applied, this right-align tip sheet, it selectively says, the user has said, what data elements do I want? So I'm going to click the button, I'm going to have a look at that. And the only information we've got is sales rights description, and then a bit of sort of stuff about the metadata at the product level. We've got the 2 ISBN 13s for the 2 products that are associated with this briefing. We've got the cover, and the rest of it is all to do with the marketing material template. So if you think, right, okay, I want to be able to see my company letterhead at the top of this page, and I only want the following information. I only want it to say the title, the ISBN, the planned publication date, and the short description. And then I want to be able to say 2 paragraphs about what I need the typesetter to actually do on this. And so you can absolutely do that. You can set up a marketing material template, put those data elements on, put your header and your footer on, choose your fonts, choose your cover orientation, all of this sort of stuff. And then you can add, on these briefings, you can add kind of free text. So let's do that now. Hold this Cat Heist in your head. We're going to add some information that's going to appear just above ebooks and just below World, as if by magic. So I'm going to go to Edit, and we are going to have a look. Yes, that's all great. I'm going to click on the button that says Add a Briefing Note. Click. And I can see 2 fields. What's the heading? What's the text? And I will say market review, because this is an acquisition meeting. Got to pretend that we've reviewed the market, haven't we? At least, my word. And then I'm going to say something great like, this is going to be the best heist book, brackets, about cats in 2027. We would be wrong to fail to publish it. That'll win them over. And then a bit of table thumping, and great. So that's my free text. And it's free text. You can say whatever you want. Don't say this, for God's sake. This is not how you run an acquisition meeting. Come on, people. Okay, so I can actually just go to the PDF that we generated and refresh the page, because that's going to be enough to run it again. And I can see now that I've got my information there. Market review, best heist book. So you get the gist. And if I go to my kind of system hard-coded template, same sort of thing. We've got the short description, we've got table of contents, but we're not going to get so much flexibility about layout. We're just going to get, we're going to get it put where it's going to get put. So depending, I suppose, in how quickly you need something, how particular a layout you need, and whether you can see the business value in creating a proper layout for it, you can use one or other of those tools. So that's lovely. That is using briefings combined with marketing material templates. Always quite useful. So the thing I wanted to say, I've actually put it later in the agenda, but we'll do it now because I've got the file right here. This is our PDF that has been generated from Consonance, and it's not just like a layout that's got the suffix PDF on the end. This is what the internet would understand to be a properly constructed file in the official PDF format. And the thing I want to show you is that you can open PDFs that have been emitted from Consonance in a program that supports the docx format. So some of those programs include Microsoft Word, Others include open source software such as LibreOffice. So and I don't actually have Microsoft Word installed on my computer because it's a bit on the heavy side, but I do have LibreOffice. So let's open this. That's cheating because that was the one I tried. Let's open this PDF in LibreOffice and see how it looks. So I open. You see, I'm going to download it because then we'll see our acquisition meeting. Save to PDF. Great. Save. There's our cat heist. Call it 11 to just prove which one it is. And I'm going to, so I can open that in Acrobat. Let's do that first. We are in Finder. How do I open with Acrobat? Well, this will take a day and a half to open, won't it? You can also open it with Preview as well. So this is in the PDF format. Fantastic. Now let's go to LibreOffice and open it in there. Open, downloads. And so there we have the PDF open in Word, effectively. And now I can edit it. I mean, it's this kind of joy that you'd expect. It's, I mean, we're in Word, aren't we? Heavens. Have you seen that meme where there's a lady in a living room and the caption is something like, what happens when you move an image in Microsoft Word? And she like fake moves a tiny thing and then all of the pictures are stuck to the ceiling and the fireplace is upside down. You know how particular some of these file formats can be. But if you need to be able to send your files out of consonants to somebody who just insists that they have to be in Word, then there's no impediment to you opening one of our PDFs in Word and editing it. So that is a little thing I learned this week, and probably shan't be using again, but I thought I'd pass it on. Great. Right, what's next on our agenda? So thrilled as I am with our progress in the accessibility department, I thought I would add that to our session today on expertise. So I've done the quickie on Word. I could have gone to the page and that would have been so much more seamless, but here we are. So what I want to do next is to just remind you some of the ways that consonants can help with an accessibility compliance project. So all of the self-congratulatory thrills that I was talking about earlier, that is to do with how accessible the consonants interface is to you, the treasured users. What we're talking about now is your data and making sure that your content is accessible as it can be to your precious clients, the Onward Reader and libraries and so forth. So let's go over to consonants and have a look at just a couple of the things that are made possible. And I want to sort of remind you that if you're looking at 2026 thinking all the things on the list we've got to do, one of the things that we really want to focus on is making sure that our accessibility compliance is as good as possible, then I think it's, definitely ping us for a chat, because we have tools that may save you time and get you to success faster. So let's have a look at some of the things that I am talking about. So we'll go to reporting first. Of course we will, because that's where all the great stuff is. And we'll start a new report. I'm slightly doing this the wrong way around. Okay, one moment. Tabbing down on this thing. In the depth section this week, we are going to create a search from scratch. Follow along to see how to create a search from scratch, and then we'll use that search to do this accessibility thing. Put this in the agenda, by the way, because just in case it happens to be your first day using consonants in your exciting new job. I sent someone a link earlier, a new starter at one of our clients. If this happens to be your first day, then this is a great session for you to join to learn about how to create a search from scratch. Awesome. Back to the thing. Right, so from any page within consonants, go to the main menu and click on reporting. Boink. The page that loads has a button called New Report. Click on that. And then you can start to provide information. So a straightforward search might include something like the product form. And this is going to give me back all of the products within consonants where the products are of a particular form. So I'm saying the product form includes any of electronic book text. Brilliant. Press search, and that tells me that within Feline Press I have 29 products that were with a product form of DG electronic book text. If I want to see those exact products rather than only knowing that there's 29 of them, I choose one of my data lists. Products lists makes a lot of sense. And now I can see a list of the records that match that requirement. So that's it. Create a new create a new report. Say what way you want to filter your data, and then choose the outcome. Choose what you want to do with that, with the results of that search. You will have a lovely time scrolling through all of the possible options that you can choose. And if you stay tuned to the live stream over the following weeks and months, you will learn all about them, I'm sure. And if you go back through time, we've probably covered a fair amount of them. But there's lots of different ways that you can see the results of a search, of these filters. So have a fun time looking at that. But when you alight on ones that you really like, give them a star and then they'll appear at the top. So let's tick products list, always a favourite. And I always like getting my marketing materials out. So now those are pinned to the top and you can get them easily without getting distracted by all the shiny, beautiful things. So that is how to create a report from scratch. That was kind of the introductory bit. Now we're going to use this report to see if we can get some insight into the quality of our metadata as it pertains to ebook accessibility. And so I can add another filter, click on add a filter, lovely. And if I type accessibility, that's going to whittle down the list to the sorts of things that we could look at. So let's have a look actually. Let's just see, we've got all sorts of ways that you can filter down your data. So if you've got a particular worry about some sort of element of your metadata that is lacking or perhaps incorrect or needs work, then hold that in mind as you look through the list of things that are available, the ways that you can cut up your data. So one of the ones, one that I will look at today is this one, product content files, which is to say the PDF that you might send to the printer or the EPUB that forms the digital edition of your work. So product content files. Let's have a look at ebook report URLs for accessibility compliance. And the blurbiage says this compares the accessibility compliance report URL on the product record to that extracted from the ebook file. So what we're doing here is checking that what the actual ebook thinks is the data that we've recorded in the metadata that goes out to your distributors and customers and retailers. And the most useful way, I think, to have a look at this information is actually to say, well, find me all of the instances in my data where there isn't a match, because that's your quality control metric, isn't it? That's like, is everything fine? In which case there's no problem. I want to see the problems. I want to see where the ebook content and my metadata does not line up. So a do not match option here gets you more directly to the next action that you need to take, which is, okay, well, one of them's right. Is this an old ebook file, or does my metadata need updating, or some third option? Some third problem to add to your afternoon. So I press search, and this is going to include the original filter as well. So I'm only looking at ebooks, and I'm only looking for problems. And oh dear, Cat Heist has a problem. Cat Heist's ebook file and Cat Heist's metadata do not match. And so now it's a question of diving in, isn't it? Following our nose, clicking on Cat Heist to see what the problem is. Well, actually, I opened it earlier, so I'll go to the tab. And sure enough, here we are on Cat Heist. This is the accessibility information that has been extracted by Consonance because we've uploaded the EPUB file, but we haven't yet added it to the metadata. And I'll put a link, I think, in the description-y bit on YouTube, because I think we covered this like a couple of weeks ago. It'll turn out it was like 2016 or something. My time proportion analyzer has gone wrong. But pretty recently we uploaded this file, but we didn't press this button. So I'm going to press the button, add accessibility information to EPUB, and now it's been added into the metadata fields. This is the bottom of the metadata page, by the way. If I look at, if I go to edit, there it is. It's as if you typed it in yourself, but you didn't have to. Because why would we want to type in all of this information when we can take it from the EPUB file and press a button and have it in? I mean, it really is living the dream, isn't it? So that's great. So we've got that all saved. And now if we go back to our report and rerun it, we should come up with a lovely absence of problems, because there are now no records where the metadata does not match the content information. Hurrah! Right, so as I say, if you are looking down a long project of getting your ebook, improving your accessibility, which is a noble and important and vital and basically baseline requirement, then there are tools like this within Consonance that I think will help. If you're feeling overwhelmed, reach out and we will get you started, pointing you in the right direction. But it's one of those eating the elephant things, isn't it? Even if you've got a report with 800 problems on it, at least you know what the problems are. And then we can start to look at ways to programmatically fix them rather than you having to do something 800 times. And we can, together we'll crack it. So be in touch, support@consonance.app. There's a button up there if you prefer buttons, and we'll go through it together. Great. So that was being an expert in things like that. And we've done the search from scratch, my rather jumbled approach to agenda management today. Many apologies, but that means we've done depth. And so we're straight on to speed, which is very appropriate because we're only half an hour in, and I'm going to call that a speedy live stream. So speed this week concerns the idea of duplicating existing records. And I ran out of room on my slide. There are a lot of ways to duplicate different sorts of records within Consonance. And again, very often I pop things onto the agenda on the live stream because I've done a demo earlier in the week or I've chatted to somebody, and something that I think is absolutely bog standard, why wouldn't you have it, makes them almost fall off their chair with delight. And sure enough, the idea of duplicating a marketing material template, lit up eyes, sparkles, utterances of delight. It was quite the thing. So, we need to make sure that we do as little as possible in our working day so that we can get to the important stuff. And if duplicating an existing record as our starting point is remotely possible, let's do it. So let's just do a couple of duplications of records in Consonance, and just get the vibe, get the get the sense of what I'm talking about. Very often these duplication buttons are available on one of the index pages, on the lists of records. So let's look at the list of searches that we've got here, and these are all of the ones that I've saved over time as we've been talking between us on our Thursdays. And if you click on the show me more icon dot thing, you'll see that there's a duplicate function here, and clicking that, and this is the sort of general rule, isn't it, across the whole of Consonance, clicking on that will take the record of the row that you're on, and it will make a copy of it. In Consonance, these are never kind of unthoughtful buttons. We are not going to be duplicating information that common sense would dictate you don't want duplicated. So, if we were talking about duplicating a product here, we're not going to duplicate the ISBN 13. That would be maddeningly bad. And so, we're not going to sort of box you into a corner of thinking, oh gosh, well, I would duplicate it, but think of all of the things I'll have to undo. So we tend to err on the side of caution, and we give you options wherever possible to choose exactly what you do want to duplicate. So let's have a quick look at what this hardback search is. Actually, we'll nip in. Its product form is hardback, publication date on or after the 15th of Feb. Fine. So if I go back, can you see there's a duplicate as well there? So if I go back, then I'm going to be able to duplicate this record by going duplicate. And now on this page, I get duplicated successfully. I can either continue editing this report because we're on this page, the original won't change, or you can go back to the original report. So we're giving you the sort of sense of what's just happened and where you are. And you can see we've actually as well changed the name of the record. And we've said this is a record that's called duplicated from hardback. And we can go straight in and change that, because I might want to think that this is my paperbacks, spelt incorrectly, paperbacks. And so now, I've started from my my search that's called hardbacks. I've duplicated it. I've changed its name. It would be remiss of me if I didn't now update the data to be whatever I want it to be. So let's go paperback. And I can also add on other things. It's a record as if I'd started from scratch, but I've just saved myself, several eighths of several seconds, which is all to the good. Notice we've got the duplicate button at the top of an individual search as well. So wherever you see that, the same sort of thing is going to apply. So that's duplicating a report, a search. Lovely. We've also got, to-dos is quite a good one actually. Let's go to to-dos. Cat heist will do. So when we create a work, there's a whole bunch of options that we can choose to duplicate if we're going the duplication option. Sorry, I got distracted by a strange cat in the garden there. Oh, the cat's here. So I'm going to go to to-dos on cat heist. Very appropriate, seeing one right there. And I've got a button here that says copy from. And so I can, it's a sort of I haven't got any that I can copy from, annoying. If I delete a one, then that will work. So now I can copy to-dos from another work, which is a form of duplication, isn't it? All in the sense of, I don't want to have to type a bunch of stuff from scratch. I want to be able to duplicate things and start from there. So now, because I deleted a matching to do with exactly the same name, I can now copy that one over and it will get added in. Great. So that's a particular form. So why a form of duplication? So while we're on cat heist, if I click on add new, look, I've got more forms of duplication here. I think we have covered these fairly recently. But one of the things I can do is to duplicate the work. And I get a box up and it says duplicated from cat heist. Let's change that to cat heist. The heist earning. That's not a word. And I can have a look to see what gets duplicated as standard. If I want to just check those things, you can read that on your own time. Whoops, click the button. And then I can choose the additional things to get duplicated. So I can choose all of the subjects to be duplicated, keywords, contributors, marketing texts, or I can say, I want the whole lot. And then everything that you see on the page there, marketing text, contributors, keywords, subjects, audiences, series, contents, languages, publishing roles, role fulfillments, compilation works, and royalty data will get duplicated onto a new work, including, by the way, the contract information and the products, which you can see if you read the long list of what gets duplicated as standard. So it's just such a great way to, to do series works for a start, where there really is a pattern that not only do you want to save time on it, but you kind of want to ensure that consistency. You want to make sure that, if you've decided that this is the pricing pattern for these series paperbacks, it's really nice to have a methodology to stamp that out like a little cookie cutter. So that's another form of duplication. Production runs is another one. Let's go to production on Cat Heist. What have we got? We'll have to add one first in order to duplicate it. So it applies to those two. And now we've got a duplicate button. Click on that. And that duplicates the production run in the background in this case. And so we carry forward all of the specification information. And that's ideal for when we want to do a reprint. Or we want to do a smaller print run that just sends gratis copies out to the author or the agent or similar. And then I think from the point of view of the contract, we looked at some duplication approaches fairly recently within the contract wording area, so we can copy clauses from a template. And this is always a nice one, to be able to copy over particular clauses from previously negotiated contracts. And we could copy all clauses if we wanted to, or separately, sort of layering on that information, we can add a contract specific clause as well just to this. So it's always, with an eye on what can we do to get started as quickly as possible, achieving a great level of consistency, but without creating a kind of, a need, just more work, now having to undo a whole bunch of stuff so that we can get started. So I think just sitting with the idea of duplication is quite useful, to think, well, are there any processes I do in my week and my month and my quarter year that actually I'm doing the same thing but for another work? Is there potential to duplicate a previous record or set of records to get me started and to keep that consistency going? And if there is one and you don't find its matching feature within consonants, then definitely let us know. I mean, gosh, what could we have that's you could duplicate a contact? I mean, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Because contacts are definitely the system reflection of a real person or organisation. That is not data that really is suitable for duplication very often. But you can try us. If there's a workflow that you think, oh, it'd be great if I could have duplication in this, let us know. Super. Well, I think I'm in such a good mood because of the amazing team. Plus, I can see blue sky. So things are looking up. We just have to keep publishing great books, don't we? And making sure that we write software that supports you to publish your great books, and then in our own way we'll make the world a little bit better, and we will get through our weeks. So well done for doing all the brilliant work that you're doing. Well done us for doing all the brilliant work we're doing. And well done the weather for not being rainy all the time here in the UK. In what I'm going to say is sunny northern Scotland. That's hexed it, hasn't it? Fantastic. Right, have a cracking week. Hope your publishing all goes well. London Book Fair fast approaches, so if you've not got time in the diary to come and see me and Dave, then definitely do that. It'd be lovely to see you. Hear all of your gossip, hear all of your requirements and how things are going with your publishing this year. Great, right. Take it easy. See you later. Like and subscribe. Bye.